What's up, everyone? Welcome to the NBA Pick and Pod. My name is Dawson Shine, and I'm your host. And we're coming at you today after one of the most incredible Game 5s I've ever seen. This was Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. The Cleveland Cavaliers won this game 112-97 in the Oracle Arena. That's the Warriors' home court. Now, this was not only an incredible game because they won this to stay alive, getting the series now 2-3 with the Warriors leading and looking to close out in Game 6 still, but they did it on the backs of the greatest duo performance in the NBA Finals that I think has ever happened. LeBron James and Kyrie Irving played two of the most incredible games I've ever seen, and this was in a game where the entire season was on the line. They were ready to get eliminated and lose their chance at a championship trophy 2 years in a row to the Warriors. And LeBron and Kyrie came out firing. LeBron had an amazing game, 16 of 30 from the field. He shot 50% on 8 threes. He had 41 points. Don't get me wrong, that's incredible. 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, only 2 turnovers. His jumper was back in this game. They were leaving him wide open on the three-point line. They were giving him the mid-range, and he was drilling them one after another, making the Warriors pay, as well as slashing to the hoop without Draymond Green in the game because he was suspended, and continuously getting great looks at the rim. But above all, Kyrie Irving played one of the best games I've ever seen in the NBA Finals. Offensively, at least, it was one of the greatest performances you'll probably ever see. 17 of 24. He shot 71%, 5 for 7 from 3. He dropped 41 points and 6 assists. It was incredible to watch. Not only that, but he did it throughout the game and in the fourth quarter when the Warriors were trying to come back and claw their way into this game. He put on a show. He scored 9 straight points for the Cavaliers to help push the lead all the way to double digits and clinch the game. It was incredible to watch because he was hitting shots from everywhere. And during that run, in the fourth quarter, he was nailing shots over Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, then drilling an amazing dagger three over the entire Warriors lineup, coming right down the court in a semi-fast break, just pulls up because he knows he's hot and drains it in their face to clinch the game. It was just an incredible performance by both players, and the Warriors were left shell-shocked on their home court. They were tied at halftime 61-61, and they just fell flat in the second half and couldn't keep up with the Cavaliers. Now, don't get me wrong. The Warriors played an incredible first half. They just couldn't score in the second half, having a total of 13 points in the fourth quarter. But in the first half, they were on fire. Curry had a pretty good game in the first half. He started off pretty hot. He had 3 threes. Curry had 13 points by the end of the first half, and Klay Thompson had double that, 26 points in the first half. He had so many threes going in throughout that first half, and it was just incredible to watch. At one point, drilling it over 2 defenders 5 feet behind the line, just pulling up for it. He ended the game with 37 points. Steph Curry, 25. Now, it sounds like he did all right, but the problem was he had 4 turnovers, and he shot 8 for 21, 5 for 15 from the 3, which, as we all know, is not like Steph Curry. But in this NBA Finals, it seems like it's the norm. Just like last year, he's beginning to not show up. I mean, if you want to talk about who the best player on this team has been all playoffs, it's Klay Thompson. His defense on everyone has been incredible. This series, he's been paired up with Kyrie Irving more than anyone else on the team and defended him very well, despite Kyrie Irving tonight just absolutely going off. But besides that game, he's been playing incredible defense on some of the hardest, best scorers to defend. James Harden, Damian Lillard, Russell Westbrook, and now Kyrie Irving. That's an incredible amount of opponents to face and defend, while Curry has been able to play off on some of the easier people to defend, who aren't actually getting the ball that much on offense. And on top of that, Klay Thompson has been the reason they are still in the playoffs, and they were still in this game. He had 37 last night, and we all remember back in the OKC series in Game 6 when he dropped over 35 points and had an incredible second half in order to clinch that game and stay alive in the playoffs. He's been absolutely incredible in every facet of the game, whereas Steph Curry has been pretty cold throughout this series, shooting poorly, below 40% again, having a subpar game, turning it over too much, and just seeming like he's invisible. Just an absolute disappearing act in the second half. I mean, that's unacceptable by the unanimous MVP. Obviously, I think this showed that MVP doesn't necessarily mean the best player in the league. Because as we saw last night, I think that title still belongs to LeBron James, who played one of the best all-around games I've seen in the finals ever. And that's even after watching LeBron James last year in the finals, carrying the Cavaliers team to 2 wins. But the question is, how did the Cavaliers win this game with only 2 players really going off and near to no contributions from the rest of the team? Well, let's start it off with LeBron James' performance because that was incredible and probably one of the most noteworthy performances of last night. He went out there and he was given the shot. He was getting defended by Andre Iguodala from the start of the game because Draymond Green was suspended. Iguodala decided that he was going to have James stay far out and try and make him take jump shots throughout the game. Now, normally, this has been a great game plan against LeBron James. It's one of the few weaknesses in his game, and it's one of the few things that he's never been consistent at knocking down since his Heat years. Now, last night, he put on a performance from outside that I don't think I can remember since Game 6 against the Boston Celtics back in 2012, when he went out there and dropped 45 on the Celtics to avoid elimination and another failure to get a ring. Now, this year, he went out there and he did the same thing he did way back when. He shot it amazing, hitting his first 2 threes, taking the jumpers with confidence. He wasn't passive in this game. He went out there knowing they were going to give him the shot, and he said, "Screw you, I'm taking it. I'm LeBron James." And he took it and he made it every time. Now, it's an exaggeration, but he made it above 55% of the time. And he was shooting mid-ranges, long 2s, and 3s. Top of the key especially was his best spot, just draining them. I mean, he had 3 threes from the top of the key alone out of his 4, and just a great performance by him. Also, after a while, the Warriors began to try and guard him on the perimeter even more because he was so hot from outside, which allowed him to do what? Drive straight to the basket, slash through their defense, kick it out, or, what he was doing last night, just going right to the hoop for layups and dunks. I mean, he had a beautiful dunk before the end of the first half. When they were at 61-58, Warriors were leading. He drove right by Mo Spates because he saw the mismatch, and Mo Spates was trying to guard him really tight at the 3-point line. And of course, as we all know, Mo Spates is not nearly as quick as LeBron James. So LeBron faked right, drove right to the left past Mo Spates, got the step on him, right to the hoop, and slammed it home for the and one dunk, tying the game at halftime. Incredible play by him, and he did that throughout the night, including a couple of nice backdoor cuts after they were all overplaying on Kyrie Irving. LeBron was incredible. He didn't even have an assist in the first half, but he had 7 in the second half when he was trying to close the game out in that third quarter. That shows you how aggressive he was from the tip-off, knowing he needed to win and needed to beat these Warriors in order to stay alive. 25 points in the first half on incredible shooting. And on top of that incredible shooting, LeBron played defense like he was back in 2012 trying to win a championship for the first time. He was out there, he had 3 steals and 3 blocks, and 2 of those blocks were vintage LeBron blocks. Now, I don't know if you know what I mean, but I'm talking about those chase down blocks where he's eyeing you up from the half-court line, coming at you ready to spike the ball into the stands or right off of the backboard. And let me tell you, at one point, he eviscerated Steph Curry, who went up for a pretty weak layup over Iman Shumpert, who did not foul him on the shot, and LeBron came out of nowhere from behind and just swatted that into the 4th row of the stands. And then another play, Iguodala was going in right against Kyrie, and instead of getting the nice, easy lay-in over Kyrie, LeBron comes in from the half court and swats it right off the backboard so the Cavaliers get the ball again. He was aware of the defense at all times, playing great, locked in, using his basketball IQ to the best of his ability everywhere on the court. And his teammate, Kyrie Irving, was just putting on a show on the offensive end. He dropped 41 points on only 24 shots. And these were a tough 24 shots. Interestingly enough, 15 of his 24 shots were without passing the ball a single time on offense and ending as a pull-up jumper. He made 10 of those. That's a very difficult recipe for success, and I've been nagging him all series on it. But last night, he proved that he can do that at least once in this series. and he made it worthwhile for one night because they were on the road and they were not having any luck with any other players in the offense. Normally, I would be nagging Kyrie because those kind of shots are very likely to stop working. And even though he had an out-of-this-world game, it's very likely that that won't work in Game 6. But last night, without having Love playing well, who was basically MIA all game, Shumpert not doing anything on the offensive end, J.R. Smith going completely cold after the first half, Channing Frye being non-existent because he can't defend a pick and roll properly, Dellavedova just doing nothing, can't make a shot. I think that it was all in Kyrie's right to try and take over this game on the road in an elimination game, and he was not afraid to do it. He took difficult shot after difficult shot, draining them over Steph Curry, over Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes. Didn't matter who guarded him. He was making that shot, getting to the hoop, and draining pull-up jumpers. And despite being very difficult and having a lack of offensive flow to the basketball, it worked. And honestly, you can't knock it when it works. It's incredible to watch, but it's also very, very difficult to sustain. I think if they want to last for a Game 7, they're going to really need to have someone else try and score. Because having the first NBA Finals performance where two players had more than 40 points on the same team is a very difficult recipe for success to repeat in 2 games in a row. Obviously, they're going to need both of these players to perform well again. But asking them to put in 41 in 2 consecutive games each is not going to happen. Love needs to come out there, be utilized in the offensive scheme, get him some open shots so that when he starts to get the ball, instead of being passive and passing it again, he will actually shoot it, opening up the offense and the paint for LeBron and Kyrie to continue to go to work in the paint, with Draymond Green back. But that's for Game 6. I want to continue with my discussion of Game 5 with the Warriors side of things. Now, they started off extremely hot in the first half, going 11 for 21 on the threes in the first half, just lighting it up, especially Klay Thompson, who had 6 threes in the first half. It was another incredible performance by Klay Thompson, who was making nice mid-range jumpers and also just draining 3 after 3 from farther and farther away from the hoop because they were covering him so tightly. But the problem was, it wasn't sustainable. Their offense finally died by the 3. Now, we always say that jump shooting teams can't win championships. People like Charles Barkley have preached that for years, and it bit him last year when they still won. But this game is indicative of what can really happen when the 3 stops falling and when your team stops making shots. Andre Iguodala started hot, ended 1 for 4 from 3. Harrison Barnes, 1 for 6 from 3, 2 for 14 from the field. And let me tell you, those 6 threes that he took were some of the most open threes I've ever seen. 3 of them in the fourth quarter alone had no one within 10 feet of him because of the defense completely collapsing on Steph Curry driving to the hoop in order to stop him from scoring. And it worked because he bricked 3 after 3 while the lead ballooned up to 15. Also, Klay Thompson in the second half didn't make a single 3, 0 for 3. And Steph Curry, I don't even want to talk about it. He was 2 for 10 in the second half. Shots that he should make. There was 4 threes in the fourth quarter alone where he was pretty open due to some nice pick and rolls and the defense continuing to collapse and block the paint off. And it finally worked for the Cavaliers. He missed them. Now, you don't expect that too often with Steph Curry, but Cavaliers' game plan of continuing to stop drives to the hoop worked. And on the defensive end, the Warriors got lit up, especially by LeBron and Kyrie, as we know. Steph Curry was completely broken down by Kyrie Irving. Irving attacked him throughout the game and found all the weak spots in his defensive ability, which, let me tell you, there are quite a few of them, including lateral quickness and being able to block a shot because he has almost no vertical. And then whoever ended up guarding LeBron James, starting with Andre Iguodala and also having players like Maurice Spates switch on to him, even Harrison Barnes and Michael McAdoo guarded him for a bit, none of them could stop LeBron James because they continued to give him the jump shot and he just kept making them all night, no matter where he was. It was isolation basketball, but it worked because they needed it to work and they made their shots. It was an incredible thing. You don't have to break down any complicated offensive plays for this game. All you got to do is watch LeBron James on offense or Kyrie Irving and see what they do because they didn't pass it that much. They just scored, and it was amazing. And another major problem for the Warriors, they lost Andrew Bogut for the series. He got injured in the third quarter trying to go up for a Kyrie Irving layup, try to block it, and ended up going down on his left knee, and they ruled him out for the series today. So without him, they're losing about 12 to 15 minutes worth of top-tier center defense. And it's going to be tough because now you're going to have to ask Draymond Green to play even more at the center position, which really limits the ability of the Warriors to go big. Because, I'm sorry, but Festus Ezeli is not an intelligent enough basketball player to be played too many minutes in the NBA Finals. He's going to get lit up by LeBron James like he did last night. So without Bogut, they're losing a huge rim protector, and it will require Draymond Green to play even more minutes at the center position, limiting the ability to go big when the Cavaliers go big, which might allow Tristan Thompson to actually get going and get some offensive rebounds to continue to give the second chance opportunities to the Cavaliers. It's going to be a huge game to watch, Game 6, because it might allow for a historic Game 7 between these two teams, or it might end in the Warriors winning a second straight championship. I can't wait to watch. This historic game for Game 5 was incredible, and now all I can do is look forward to Game 6. I hope you guys feel the same way. Hope you enjoyed my breakdown of last night's game, and I hope you have a great day today. Thanks. Make sure you like and subscribe if you did, and I'll talk to you guys after Game 6. Goodbye.